Hey guys, it's Miley.
Hey, it's Christina.
Hey, it's Ashley.
And welcome to HerHour. This is our mic and we're handing it to the woman who made a way. Hi Elsa, how are you?
Very good, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. My goodness, it's so fun to be with young girls who are doing things and doing something so exciting.
Yes. Okay, so the first question is, what is your story?
My story.
Yes.
It's a long one.
When I graduated from high school, I went to nursing school briefly. I became ill and I couldn't finish, so I went home and I was going with my high school boyfriend. Don't marry your high school boyfriend. It worked out very, very well for me and empowered me to be able to do what I'm doing now. However, my advice to any young girl today is find yourself, do your purpose, because I was married very young. But anyway, when I went to this nursing school, I learned a septic technique, washing hands. It's one of the first things you do when you scrub for surgery or handling anything. It's pathogens and germs and all of that. So that and how to make a bed. So in the first 6 months of nursing school, that's what. And then I became ill. Fast forward, married, children, la la la.
Yeah.
COVID. And I was involved with, by this time I started my foundation. And honest to God, I went also in Rwanda, I had seen two mothers and two babies to a bed. And a mother gives birth, two women in labor in one bed. And bed after bed, not just one, many, room after room. Not enough beds, not enough sheets. And then then COVID happened, and what did we have to do? Wash hands. So suddenly I was buying beds, hiring a single mom, and buying a sewing machine so she could make sheets in Africa, and building hand washing stations. God in his wisdom only intended for me to learn how to make a bed and wash hands. Now, I'm not a doctor, nor am I a nurse, but I had, just having the awareness put me in a position to be able to still contribute. And that goes back to that 18-year-old girl that went to nursing school because she wanted to help people. And so health and education have become the two main points of what I do now. And of course, literacy, because it all begins with that. You give anybody the gift of literacy in a world that's becoming smaller and smaller, because it's the ability to gather information, knowledge. And if we put people together, there's going to be the kid in Bangladesh and the kid in Africa and the kid in Arizona. That's how we're going to get a cure for cancer, because they're going to be able to share information because they can communicate.
Yeah.
That's my long story.
How can girls at our age start making a difference, even in small ways?
Pay attention. Pay attention to what you're interested in. Pay attention to what triggers your interest. Stay curious. I gave a talk one time, or visited a class in the South Bronx, high school kids, and we were talking about trafficked children. And I'd been to Nepal, where there had been a trafficked children situation, and I was informing them, and I had brought the author of the book, and we were talking, and one young person raised his hand and said, "But what do you want us to do about it?" And I realized that, to talk about a problem, sometimes one feels just helpless in light of it. But my answer to him was, pay attention to what you care about and don't stop caring. You don't have to do something right away. The day will come, but pay attention and keep kindness in your heart. And my feeling about the cause that I was talking to this young class about, and I quoted, Mighty of Nepal was a woman who had rescued trafficked girls. And she said, until we look at every girl as our daughter and every young boy as our son, would I let this happen to you? Would I, that ability to care that deeply. And I think that's probably a very much a woman trait we have within us, an instinct of caregiving, um, and love and tenderness, perhaps, to young people. And I thought it really defined it. If we look at each other, do unto others, all of that. Like, keep space in your heart. Don't get hardened by all the problems and the negative things in this world, because there's a lot to feel discouraged about. It's always been that way. But we keep trying. We do what's in front of us to do something good, and we become that example.
Me personally, I feel like I have a more mature personality, so I do relate more to people that are older than me.
Question, Christina. Do you have friends who are younger than you? See that? Diversity, when we talk about diversity and the interest in life, the fact that it's the differences between us, we come from different countries, or we have different heritage, or we come from a small town, big town. Age difference. I think it's marvelous to have friends that were older than me, but also younger than me. So you're now my friends. Yeah. That's how that works.
When do you believe a girl has become a woman in a mental aspect? Because I know, like, in a physical aspect, some people say, like, oh, once a girl gets her period, she's now into womanhood. But I know that I've got my period at a younger age. So do I declare myself a woman at a young age? I don't think so.
My goodness. I have never truly thought about this before. So I think it's accepting responsibility can make you an adult early. You can have adult experiences, not necessarily tied to chronological age. A mother, say a young woman becomes a mother at 18. She's immediately becomes more of an adult.
Yeah.
It becomes this definition of womanhood. Is it a physical thing? Then it would be physical maturity, right? But if it's an emotional thing, then it's life experiences that help to cultivate and direct the character that you become as you take on I think every decade after your 20s, you're going to be, oh, I feel so much better in my 30s and in my 40s and so forth, that you get to know yourself better and better. I don't think we ever stop growing. So it's an ever changing. And that's why the quote about, it's never too late to be who you might have been. All of those things. But to actually define, okay, this is being a woman now, I think it's a gray area. Because, yeah, it's a maturity thing.
Continuing on with that, what do you think would make a difference between womanhood and manhood in terms of what would women have that, like, personality wise, mindset wise, that a man might differ from than woman?
I don't know. There's a certain tenacity to women. Women are capable, and women certainly have now declared their space in the business world and in life in general, and they're rising to leadership positions as well.
I feel like women have a more rich emotional well-being than men do. We have more mental space and way to work around thoughts than men do. They straight to work, they got their jobs, they're doing what they have to do. We build off of our thoughts and what we are thinking and put that into what we're doing. So I feel like that's what the difference is.
Our next question is, what do you do when people say you can't do something or it's too hard?
What do I say if somebody says it's not possible? Yeah. Watch. In a discouraging moment, but you have to always stop and take a second look. And you think, okay, this door may have closed, but this one opened.
Is there anything you've seen in yourself that you see in us now?
That's pretty interesting, because I do see that the young girl that wanted to help people, that was interested in diversity, shall I say, or in other countries. I was wildly curious about Africa, for example, and now I'm doing a lot of it. It feels like I'm going home when I go to Africa. I've become dear, dear friends there now. And I would have never, it seemed like, pinch me, is this really happening? Because it was something I was very interested in. So I see that young girl that was curious and wanted to help people kind of come full circle. And I think that I found my true purpose maybe later on in life. I think things happened in my life just exactly the way they should. Um, I was a mom, a wife, and a mother. And then that was complete. When that job was done, it was like, well, now what? Yeah. And now I needed to find another purpose. And it actually really went 360 degrees back to what I was like when I was a young girl. Yeah. And it's been very rewarding and very interesting.
This is really off track. But how many countries, like, and states have you been
Yes,
to?
oh my God,
I was thinking that.
I actually counted because, you have those quizzes sometimes, like how many countries have you been to? And I can't remember the number that I've been to because I visited some. Where I have done, and I think to myself, why don't I go to some place that's kind of like a vacation or a spa? And I think, no, I go to Cambodia and to Laos. Countries that I've done projects in are Zambia, Nepal, Cambodia. We built a library. First one we partnered with a Buddhist monastery who wanted to take an unused pagoda and convert it into a community library. It was a first in Cambodia to have because it served the school, the community, and the monastery.
Do you believe in the phrase everything happens for a reason?
I think I do because I think even in the hardest of times, when you're feeling the most lonely or the most miserable, you have a choice. Either you're going to let that hold you back or you're going to look and try to find the light. And you're going to find where is this. And I do think things happen for the reason. And I think you have to, at a very low point in my life, my daughter said to me, now, Mother, you're going to find your true purpose. It's not exactly what I wanted to hear at that particular moment. But how right she was. How right. Things do happen for a reason. People come into your lives for a reason. And it's up to us to be receiving of it and to look for the good, look for the positive. I just have no bandwidth for negative. That's why I don't pay too much. I want to be informed, but I don't pay too much attention to things that I can't. I want to give my energy to the things I can do.
I do believe that things do happen for a reason, even if you don't know the reason.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, that's why I said it. Yeah, because sometimes things happen to me and I don't know why and I don't understand why. And does it get me upset? Yes, because when I don't understand things, I get upset and I'm just because I don't know what's happening and as Ashley says, like, do I like the mystery sometimes? Yes, but I also like to be informed because I want to understand the other person's side and not just my side. I've once been told that there's my side, the other person's side, and the truth. And sometimes in situations where things happen for a reason, I only know my side and not the other person's side or the truth. So I'm just here wondering what if. And it's the hardest thing to go through, but sometimes I just have to say to myself, things happen for a reason, even if I don't know the reason.
I definitely agree with that. Things happen for a reason, even if you don't know the reason, because I think that there's a plan set for us, and later on in the future, if we don't know the reason now, we will learn to understand it, which just comes with experience and growing as a person. So I do agree with what you said, that because I do think things happen for a reason, and I most of the time also know I don't know why, but I think it's just part of growing up as a woman or just anybody in general, and it just comes with growing up and comes as a responsibility. So
Yeah, I agree with all of you guys.
Oh my goodness.
The way he presented us to you, is your impression the same from when you first met us just now?
Well, I liked you the minute I met you. I have a lot of respect for what you're doing. I think this is exciting, and I really honor that. I don't know if I could have had the poise to do what you're doing at this age, but I admire it very much. You give me great hope for what comes next. I would love to stay in touch with you and know how things develop in your lives, because it's exciting times. You know, there was another thing that when I was a senior in high school, I remembered a quote that had been written by a Dr. Tom Dooley to Albert Schweitzer, who was a missionary doctor in Africa. And at the time, Dr. Dooley was headed to Africa, and Dr. Schweitzer wrote back to him, "I do not know what your destiny will be, but this I do know. You will always find happiness if you seek and find how to serve." And I think that for you girls, in what you're doing and how you feel and your experience in life, the development of empathy, and to be in, and I don't mean in service in a physical way necessarily where you're, cleaning up after everybody, but I mean to serve others, that at the end of the day, that's the source of your true happiness. And it will be that when you're married or you have children and you're serving your family, you're caring for them, you're loving them, and you're being kind. That's the source of happiness. And what you do for others, you will always be happy. Or the seeking of happiness, the pursuit of happiness comes from what you do.
Do you have any last words of wisdom?
Never too late to be who you might have been. You don't just come and be in that, age 25 or 35 or 45 or 50 is the end. No, you keep evolving and growing, and I'm still discovering who I'm going to be. And I think that that keeps the vitality in all of us and gives us hope in this world. So life is just beginning. Keep going and have lots of fun.
Just want to say I agree with that because I know a lot of people feel pressure when it comes to going to a new grade, like from middle school to high school or high school to college. So knowing that your life journey isn't over or isn't fully ever over, and you're still discovering who you are no matter how old you are. So the pressure of trying to find who you are at such a young age, or at such a young age, shouldn't be as much as a stress, because like you said, no one is really, like, their journey isn't done till, like, no matter what age you are. So
Very much agree, very much agree. You agree?
I agree. I agree.
So guys, I'm Miley.
I'm Christina.
I'm Ashley.
And thank you for watching Her Hour.